Hello, everyone. All right, I guess this is working. Can't really see you, but if you have any questions along the way, our team is in the chat feature. So you have Brian and Tasha. So please ask your questions as we go along. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Alphonse. I'm with the lovely Lila, and she is a fellow makeup artist extraordinaire here in the area. And we're here today to really start off something I'm calling Sessions in the Studio. We don't normally do a lot of Instagram lives, but I know that there's been a request, and so my goal is to try to bring more of them your way. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the Complexion book. There's been lots of buzz and lots of questions about this little baby, and she is quite a gem. So I thought what I would do is go into a little bit about the science, the intention behind the palette, and most importantly, show you how to use the product. And I think that's been the question that many of you cannot see and would not see just from a picture of makeup on a model. So let's just say this was 3+ years in the making, and that was fast-tracked. It takes a long time to develop a product from scratch, and I think because the intention behind the product was so specific. I always share with you that selfishly, I always like to develop product based off of what my needs are as a working makeup artist, but not just my needs, as business partners, fellow makeup artists, and all of you. How do we and I develop product that's going to help to, let's say, positively impact your workflow? That's one intention. The second would be, how do I bring a skin-conscious formula to the market that checks all the boxes for all of us and our clients? And the third most important piece really would be skin architecture. Myself and all of us included, we have all of these bottles of foundation, and we're depotting, and all these wonderful creams and products that we will never give up, products that we love. But at the same time, the footprint, what we're doing to Mother Earth when it comes to the stability, and not to mention our pocketbook, a lot of it ages before we actually get to use it. So how do we work smart? And I would like to say not hard, but we do work hard too, right? We were talking about that earlier. It's like, okay, yes, it's one thing to be the makeup artist, it's another thing to own a company and to build a brand. Okay, more about that on another session. Might need a couch for that one. Okay, if you can hear me, or if you can't hear me, let us know in the chat. And then Armand here is going to, tell me what to do. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, so I talked to you a little bit about the intention behind this. It's been fascinating as developing a product, watching the response to the makeup artists that have been able to hold it and use it. We were talking that it's one thing to be a makeup artist, it's another thing to develop product. But for me, what gives me the greatest reward is when I see you, the makeup artist, using the product, and when you have your aha moments. That's the part that I think is really great. I saw a beautiful makeup this morning that a makeup artist did this weekend. Her name is Etsia. Not sure she's out there. And she did it on the mother of the bride. And the makeup was stunning. The skin looked radiant. It looked fresh. It didn't look overdone. It looked modern. And all I thought was, this type of image is what's going to get you rebooked again and again. So great job if you're out there, Etsia. Okay, let's talk a bit about this. I was talking about the makeup artists have their aha moments. First, when they see how compact it is, it's designed to fit in the hand, like your cell phone. And that's exactly what it is, that size, but 3 deep. So it's very deep product. The second aha is when they open it and they see that this includes 32 inclusive shades. And that's very important. We never know necessarily, sometimes we do, who's going to be in our chair or not. So we have to make sure that we have something for everyone. And most important, to support how we design skin. It's one thing to put foundation on someone's face or cover up a blemish, but what we do, we're our own architects. We're basically creating dimension and highs and lows and sometimes correction. And it's nice to be able to have one product that can do it all for you. I think the third aha moment that people have is when they actually feel the formula. The formula is where we advanced science and performance to bring you something very modern, something very new. There are so many amazing cream-based products on the market where most of them are wax and oil. And we all have the ones that we loved, and I will forever love and use Ket. That is a great product, it's our sister company. It has its place. But there's a time where I don't need a lot of shiny, dewy complexion work. I might want something that's going to be what I call a little bit more polished, a little bit more of a perfect finish. And that was the end in mind, and that is what I think this product delivers for you. So let's see, I have notes in front of me, and I'm not good at following them. So keep me on track with your questions. Let's talk a little bit about the science that goes into the formulation of the actual product. So this is a cream-based product. The cream-based product is man-made wax, and the man-made ingredient is featherweight. You do not feel it on the skin. Second from there, it is not silicone, but it is a complex of dimethicones. So the silicone, let's say the SD456, those are more nano-sized particles that can actually really penetrate the skin, and some people might have irritation. We're not using that. We're working with what's called a linear complex of dimethicones. And these linear complexes almost stack on top of each other like a mattress on top of the skin. And as makeup artists, that's exactly what we want. We want our makeup to float on the skin. With that, there's silica. Silica is a natural mineral that will help to, yes, give that soft, focused, almost blurred effect. It will actually help to set makeup, and it will actually help to almost absorb a little bit of excess shine. It's a miracle ingredient. So with that, we added a powerhouse amino acid, and that amino acid is called ectoin. Ectoin is an amino acid that's derived from, let's say, cacti or seaweed, plants that thrive in really extreme environments. And what this amino acid does, it actually helps to work with cellular hydration. So let's think about that for makeup. We know that makeup does sit on the surface of the skin, and it can actually impact like topical dehydration. So with this ingredient in the foundation, it's going to help to work with cellular hydration, which will help to keep the makeup looking fresh, which gives you a longer wear time. And that, if we think about it, that is everything that we do. It's one thing to put makeup on that's an alcohol base that's not going to move. It's another thing to do makeup on someone for like a special occasion, bridal, TV, film, where you don't want the makeup to move so much, but you don't want it to be, non-movable. Face moves. And with that, we have to be able to have the ability to step in and do little minor touch-ups from time to time. It's a part of what we do and part of how we let our creation go with the flow, I guess, let's say. Let's see, what else should I tell you about the formulation? Well, I think I told you what you need to know. If I miss something, ask a question. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the system. All right, let me get a little closer for this. So the system here, you have 4 rows, and each row is really broken down to levels of skin. So the first row here, think of it from fair to light complexions. And then your second row here is really more for medium to medium plus skin tones. The next row would be more for tan to medium deep complexions. And then the bottom row is going to be more your deep to your deep plus complexions. So that gives you confidence that you can work from the fairest to the deepest of complexions. Now let's talk about the second part of the system, which would be the columns. So I talk about it having 32 shades. I talk about it being inclusive. And what we do as makeup artists, we go one step further. We look at the undertone of the skin. So each column has a different undertone. The first column has more of a ruby undertone. That would be more of a pink undertone. The second column is going to be more olive. That's going to be more yellow-green. Your third column is going to be more neutral. That's a balance of the yellow and the green. And then the fourth column here are your warm undertones. And the warm undertones have more of that red-orange undertone or more peach, apricot. Think of it that way, your caramels. And then after you are done with the first 4 columns, it begins to repeat into the second, because that's what gives you from your fair and then to your light. So yes, we can mix in between shades, you can mix in between undertones, but it's the undertone that actually allows us to have the best match of foundation. We all know at times someone might want to look a little more tan, someone may want to look a little bit more neutral or warmer in their complexion, and we can do that with makeup. But at the same time, sometimes you need to have the best match, so there's no line of demarcation, or it's going to begin to match, let's say if you're working on a bride, moving down from the neck to the décolleté. The last column here, am I close enough for you guys? Is that good? Can they see? The last column are what I call adjusters. And the adjusters are shades that I designed or put together in this palette that are going to do exactly what it says. It's going to help to adjust the look of the makeup. Now, I did not create color theory shades. We don't need that with this palette. So there's no blue, there's no green, because I already made it by undertone for you. So we kind of took that part of the work out to make it one step easier for you. But there's maize here, which is a great color if you wanted to bring in a little bit more gold. You have the second shade here, which is sienna. Sienna is a beautiful, rich red-orange. You have crimson. Crimson is a deep, think that candy apple red. And then you have ebony, which I love this color. Ebony is a beautiful, almost neutral black-brown that does not read too gray. And I found from working with this palette, working with these shades, there has not been one complexion that I have not been able to match or create a shade for. And there's nothing that really gives us more confidence than that. Like sometimes we know who's going to be in the chair because you've done a bridal trial or you've seen the talent beforehand. But sometimes other people come and you have no idea. And the last thing you want to do is to be like fumbling through your makeup kit as if you were not prepared. Yes?
Ronnie has a question. What's the dry down finish?
Great question. So what's the dry down finish? This product transforms into how you prep the skin. Now, I like to call this finish a perfect finish. Perfect finish meaning that it's going to give you a little bit more of that natural skin-like, I would say more of a luminous matte finish. I have it on, and you can see my skin has just a little bit of a natural sheen to it. So it's not super dry, super matte, or super dewy, glowing. It's just what I consider to be that perfect matte. Now, I have used this product with mattifying, oil controlling products, and I've used it with very rich creams that when you put on, the skin is immediately radiant and dewy. And I found that this formula basically transforms and becomes that finish, just with the softest, soft focus finish. How are we doing? We good?
There seems to be some invites they try to get in. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Brian is not sure if there's a button.
Uh-oh. I'm so sorry. This is our first live, and I don't see an accept invite, so you guys work it out. Sorry. We're going to keep on. We're just going to keep talking makeup here. All right. I don't know. All right. Perfect. All right. Let's see. So I hope that answered your question, because I know today makeup artists rely on the fact that when a company says a product is a matte finish or a radiant finish, that's how we think. But we're still manipulating it, right? We still use mattifying powders, products underneath, and that is a part of what we do as a makeup artist. We learn to work with our mediums. We manipulate them so we get exactly the end result that we're looking for. And that's what this product's going to let you do. Now, when makeup artists first feel it, and I did a little test, and you were like, wow, you don't feel it, right?
Weightless.
Weightless. And what's important to know is that it might be weightless. It might be featherweight, but it's not delicate. This was designed for pro wear. It's going to give us the performance that we need. I've already seen people who've been putting it to the test down in Miami, putting it on themselves at 6 a.m., and then doing time shots all the way to 9 p.m. at night. Of course, that makes me nervous, because I know it works. I know it worked in Mexico. I know it works here in the studio with the driest of complexion to the oiliest. But at the same time, it's when you guys start to work with it that feedback is so important. So you will find from time to time that I might DM you and say, glad you like the product, tell me how it's working. Because as a product developer, I can only make product better when I get your feedback. So thank you for participating with me. Okay, I think I need to start makeup. Let's go. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I'll do this in the most basic way to a way that once you know your shades, hold on. So once you know your shades, then you'll be able to jump around. So let's say you're just starting out. I'm going to look at who's in my chair and I'm going to say, do they fall into the light fair? Are they more on the medium, tan to medium deep, or deep to deep plus? Okay, so I would say with Lila here, we're definitely going to work more feeling here on the medium tones. It's only makeup. If you find that the shade doesn't work on the skin, you just remove it, but let's test. So what I will do first is, let's start here with the lighter side of the mediums, and I'll just swatch a little bit of each one, and I'm going to put it onto my palette. So I took the ruby, that is the R3. Now I'm going to take the olive 3. I'm going to take the neutral 3. And I'll take the warm 3. Okay. So you can see exactly what I'm doing here. I just put a little swatch of each one along the top. I'm going to use a little bit of a small angle slope brush, or you could use your finger. And I'm going to do the traditional swatch test. So there we have the ruby. Turn a little bit that way. Perfect. There we go. So there we have the ruby. Next will be the olive. Follow with the neutral. And then the warm. So this you would go through if you're looking for the exact match. Let's see, how do I make this come a little closer? Do you just tap it? All right, I'll move it in a little closer. I want you to be able to see the swatches. Turn that way for me. So I don't know if you can see here, but I feel like I'm definitely in the light, the correct level, because it is a little bit more difficult to see unless if you're as close as I am. The first is the pink, and I would say that the ruby definitely has a little bit too much of a pink undertone. Then you're going to have the olive that actually is looking really nice from the beginning to the end. Then we have the neutral, which is reading just a little bit brown on her complexion. And then we have the warm, which actually is looking a little bit too red-orange to peach. So for me, I'm looking at the olive, and that looks like a perfect match. So we're going to go ahead and work with the olive. And there we go. That's her shade. She is olive 3. So let's remove those. And it can be that easy. So if you're just starting out and you're not sure because you haven't really had a chance of working with a lot of the colors, that's what you would do. Otherwise, eventually you'll just eyeball it and you learn your mediums and you'll know what you want to do. Okay, so when Lila came in, now share with us what you have on your, what did you use to prep your skin?
To prep my skin, I used a rice milk toner. I used a hyaluronic acid, and I used a creamy moisturizer with a drop of oil.
Okay, all right, with a little drop of oil. All right, so I've been getting so many questions from you saying, well, what skincare products do you use? And to be honest, we all know there's thousands of products out there in the market, so it depends on what you're working with. This formula I find works very well with the skin, with almost any product that we've worked with. Now, if you leave a lot of slip on the surface of the skin, naturally, like any makeup that you would use, it could begin to ball up. So basically, make sure you don't leave too much excess on that surface. And I think we've all had that experience, right?
Yes.
We absolutely all have. So I'm just going to sanitize my hands, which I did sanitize before, but I'm going to do it again, because now I'm going to apply a little bit of a prep product on her skin. And I will just use my finger. So in all transparency, it's something new that I'm working on. That'll be out, give me at least 6 to 8 months, and that'll be your way. But basically, it's a hydrating primer. All right.
Mark it on your calendars.
I guess more. willing, all right? So this is just a little bit of, and most of us use some form of primer, or I use a lot of Embryolisse. I love the lait creme. I find it to be so universal, and for the most part works with almost every skin type. I've received questions about how does it work with sunscreen. Well, we all know if you're going to use a natural-based sunscreen, let's say like a mineral sunscreen, they naturally will flash a little bit white. So you have to test and be prepared. But if you're using a traditional SPF, which I use every single day, I have no problem with it at all. I use the Barrier Repair Dermalogica SPF 50, and I have no problem with any flash or any breakage of the formulation. So choose whatever your favorite makeup primer is, if you want to use one. Something else that we often have to rush through because everyone thinks that we are as fast as AI or as fast as digital. You have to give your skin time to absorb the skincare. At the same time, we also have to give the skin time to let the primer begin to do its job. So primers in general, let them sit from anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds. And if that's the case, while you're doing that, some of you are saying, I don't have time for that, move to another part of the face, move to the brows. You can move to applying moisturizer to the hands, the neck, whatever you might need. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my Complexion palette. We've determined that 03 is a great shade for her foundation. And then what I want to do is choose something to do a little color correction under the eye. So for under the eye, I'm going to go up one level, and I'm going to choose a shade. Let me go with the Ruby. I'm going to do with the R2. Okay? So now just pick up a little bit of R2, put it on my palette. I know that she's an 03. Pick that up and put that on my palette. And I'm going to want to create a little bit of warmth and dimension around the frame of the face to create that architecture. So what I'm going to do now is just drop down 2 shades. Let me go with the N7. I like that color. I use it often. So you can get systematic, but I know many of you, what I call kitchen witch, you mix no matter what. And that's cool. That's your prerogative. That's your final say as the artist. All right. I'm going to go back to a small sloped brush. Now what I like to use are small brushes, let's say that have a little bit of a slope. This is made of synthetic hair, Vexilon, similar to the size of a pinky. And the approach that I'll do, here we are. We have her corrector for under the eyes, a little foundation, and a little bit of a shade to create a little shape or dimension. Let me start with a little bit of the foundation. Not the foundation, the corrector shade. This is the R3. Look up for me. And I'm just going to press and glide, like stipple and glide is the technique that I feel works best. And we're going to just color correct any discoloration that we see. I went one level lighter just to give a little bit of brightness. You can do more or less depending on what you're looking for. And I have to say, then I'm going to go to my finishing sponge and I'm just going to lightly press it. When you're using the right shade of color corrector, I find that it's almost magic. It just helps to color correct under the eye and it just freshens up the complexion beautifully. Let's see, how is that? Okay. Once again, the other side. It's important for us to be able to have the tools and the product in our kit so we can work with confidence. There's always so many obstacles or things going on around us. We were talking a little earlier about, specializes in commercial work as well as bridal, and there's always someone running late, there's always something going on, and our job is to keep it calm, to keep it running smooth. When in the end, we really just want to sit down or have someone sit down and we can do our art. But that's only part of what we get paid for.
Question.
Yes, question.
Does the product need to be warmed up? Like if you have to be done with cat?
No.
You gotta repeat the question because they can't.
Okay, perfect. So great question. Question is, do you need to warm this product up, let's say like Ket? Ket is a traditional candela wax with oil. So that you needed to warm the product up. This product has been designed where it will begin to emulsify on contact with the skin. It actually becomes almost like a liquid to cream. It's really stunning. So you don't need to warm it up, but what you do need to do is you need to load up your brush properly. So now I'm going to go to a larger brush. This is the T47. Once again, this is made of Taklon synthetic. It has a nice slope. I'm going to move my O3 down on my palette. It's a very soft product. Okay. So I'm going to take my brush. You do not need to mix anything into this product. Like don't put an oil in it, don't put a cream or anything in it. Just load your brush up and make sure that your brush, it's all equally distributed. Okay? Then go. So I'm just going to stipple and glide. And as far as the coverage, you can make this sheer to really, I would say, medium plus coverage. This is not designed to cover a tattoo. We have makeup for that. We have other mediums that we like to use. But you can build beautifully. And actually, it's just kind of a stipple and go. Now, if you want to put makeup all over, if you're doing something like a reality show, Real Housewives-esque, and you need that full coverage, you could build it. Lila has beautiful skin and doesn't need a lot. But I'm going to even out her complexion where we all have a little redness. I'm going to pick up a little bit more of my O3. Do not be afraid to get into the well of the makeup and pick up what you need. The pans, all the individual pans, are very deep. They actually will hold ample amount of product, 2.3 grams of product. Most cream foundation palettes have anywhere between 1.7 and 2.5 on the large fill. So it looks small, but trust it has what you need. How do you refill it? Stay tuned. We will be launching in January the individual shades in stick format. So all you need to do is to slice a little bit off and press it into your complexion book. It's that easy. There will be no recommending. You don't need to nuke the product, warm it up. You just slice and press. Ella, we were talking, you're about to go do a wedding, where?
St. Kitts.
St. Kitts, so it's going to be
Humid.
humid and warm. And so she was saying, how would this product wear in an environment like that? And I said, well, it really does depend on how you prep the skin, but this formulation is designed to withstand up to 106 degrees. And it was important for us to know that because it was like, hey, if this product is being transported in the summertime, will it melt when you open your pallet and you're, like here, driving through Napa where it might be 102 degrees, or in Arizona or Arkansas, anywhere where it might be really warm, is it going to melt? So it will really help to withstand environmental heat.
We have a question about your brush preference.
Yes?
Do you like a dense brush or not?
I would say these are medium. Medium. So the question is, do I prefer a dense brush or a really soft brush? I think it really depends on your personal preference. The more dense the brush, the fuller the application. So our brushes are probably somewhere in the middle. If I wanted a much fuller application, I would move to probably like more of a brush like this, like a sable hair filbert, and this would give me beautiful, fuller application.
And then speak about the longevity one more time.
All right, so the longevity. Well, we were talking about this. Longevity, I have seen this product wear easily 12 to 15, 16 hours. This is not a 3-day wear makeup, a 24-hour wear makeup, nor is it waterproof. There are things we can do that I'll show you to give you an extra shot of security, but I would say this product will easily wear, from our experience as makeup artist, easily, I would say 12 to 16 hours. I'm just fine-tuning a little here and there.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
As you know, as makeup artists, we sometimes have to use a lot of different tools, and sometimes those tools are our fingers.
Yes.
How does this product perform with
Fingers?
yes?
It works beautifully with fingers. And I can say that because this product is designed to, it will basically emulsify on contact with warmth. So it works beautifully. I will actually probably do a little bit of the contour that way. I think if you are using your fingers, turn this way for me a little bit. If you are going to use your fingers to apply the product, I think like a light tapping. You have to know how to manipulate the amount of pressure that you're putting on the skin. There's a makeup artist, her name's Shar Turner. She worked all weekend on a job, and she likes to use her fingers. And her approach to makeup is really more for evening out where the skin needs it, opposed to applying all over. And I saw a video of what she was doing this weekend, and she was just using her fingers, and it was stunning. So once again, I think it just depends on what you're most comfortable with. Now look up for me. Now I'm going to take my finishing sponge, and I'm a big press and roll person. So I want to make sure that it's all the layers are pressed together.
Could you also apply this just with the sponge?
You could apply it with the sponge. It's probably not my first recommendation. I'm afraid that you might pick up too much product. Not that the sponge will absorb, but until you know how to manipulate your sponge and manipulate your product, I think you would get a better application with your brush or your fingers. All right, I would say that I built this up to a medium coverage. Okay. You can see the skin has a really pretty glow to it. It's not overly shiny. It's not overly matte. Okay. The next step that I'm going to do is go into the N7. I'll pick up a medium-sized brush here. This is my V29. It's a little bit larger with the slope. I'll pick up a little bit of that color, the N7. I have 10 minutes, okay. And I'm just going to set up where I want to create a little bit of shape, dimension. Okay. What I love about this product is that you have a beautiful amount of blend time. Some products are designed to dry so quickly you have to move really fast. We would not normally do this with some of the liquids on our market that wear for 16 plus hours, because we know that when you go to move it, it basically has dried and it's stuck. So I'm going to set it up.
Also, do you have a quick question regarding the undertone correction under the eye?
Yes.
The undertone used?
I use the ruby, and I have to say, I think I might would be able to get a better job by using one of the warm shades. The peach apricot tone, I think, is going to be better with her olive complexion. All right. So now from here, oh, let me go to a brush. I'm not creating sharp contour. I didn't choose a shade that was really gray. This is more neutral, just to bring a little shape and dimension. I didn't choose a warm shade. That would have created more of a bronzer. But this will just keep her complexion and her face shape looking dimensional. Turn this way for me.
What is the longevity on the entire palette?
The palette itself, once the palette has been opened and used, it has 24 months shelf life, but it is aqueous. That is a great question, actually, you asked, because I forgot to mention that. Aqueous means that it has no water in it. So therefore, it would be really hard for, let's say, like a bacteria to grow in it, but it's possible. But if you maintain your products and your sanitation, let's say you're using Beauty So Clean, great product to do a sanitation mist, you'll find that you'll have great longevity with your product. Okay. So of course I need to step back because the camera's really close. I have no room here. Let's see. Turn to me. Let's see. Do we look balanced? I think I could use this a little bit more here. All right. And I love how I can go back and apply and blend and build. Okay. That looks nice. How does it feel?
Weightless.
Weightless.
Like I have
Good.
nothing on my skin.
Perfect. Blend out a little bit here. Looks like there's a little line on camera. We don't want that. Okay. All right, I think I have just a few minutes left, but I want to show you two more things that I think are really key. One being how to use the adjuster to create your blush. Realistically, when we blush, I know there's so many blushes and colors on the market, and it's really fun to buy, but in the end, we almost find that we always use the same colors. These two adjusters, I created the sienna and the crimson, because really when we blush, we really are going to blush a variance of one of these two colors. You can mix the two colors together to create a coral, use just straight warm the apricot color, or go into the red. So what I'm going to do, whatever color you want to, whichever tone that you want to do for your person in your chair, let's say I'm going to take this crimson. I'm going to mix that into her foundation. Whatever foundation's left over, don't waste it. I'm just going to mix it right into our foundation shade, and I'm going to create the most beautiful natural blush that works on her complexion. Yes. Sorry. Okay. A lot of rules. I need to speak up now. Okay. So I basically mixed the crimson with what was left over of our foundation. And you can make it as vibrant or as sheer as you want. I'm just going to go from the top corner plane and work back and blend upward. Almost a little bit of a soft framing. How's that reading? Pretty, huh? Mm-hmm. Sometimes I feel as a makeup artist, I get bored with myself and the colors that I use. But you know what? Those are the colors that we use that work. Sometimes at the core of it, all these really fun editorial colors, I love them and we have them and I own them, but I still go back to the same shades. All right, so there we go on this side. Once again. 5 minutes, all right. Pretty. And that was the crimson. All right, we just want a little editorial going a little higher than bridal, but it's just makeup. All right. Once again. Let's see. Very pretty. That looks nice.
So
That looks like just a natural blush without it looking really strong.
like my natural flush.
Blush look perfect. From here, now we're going to set. So let's talk a little about the setting veil. Setting veil, this is not a powder, even though it's powder format. This is a product that was designed to lightly set makeup, to create a really soft focus finish, and most importantly, because it's made with hyaluronic acid, the hyaluronic acid is going to actually help to hydrate the makeup, to keep it fresh, to help to keep the wear even longer and beautiful. So it has a little twist top. You just open a little bit at a time, tap it out onto your palette or to the cap. And when you first look at it, it might be, oh, it looks a little grainy. But this is, why don't you feel it and touch it. The hyaluronic acid just gives the softest, most
really soft.
diffused finish on the skin. It is a microfine powder. And with this, my favorite way to apply it is I'm going to use the other side of my finishing sponge as flocked. So I'm just going to pick it up. Now you can choose to use it in just specific areas or all over. I like this technique I call a direct set. Look up for me. So I'm just going to, the areas that are more high traffic, let's say she has sunglasses on, corner of the nose, maybe a little bit under the eye, and I don't mind packing it in. This adds hydration. If this was a talc-based product, most of us would never go under the eye. But this product, as all of our products, are completely talc-free. Our formulations are clean compliant by EU standards. Therefore, that means that, and they're vegan. So being clean compliant, you'll find that there's no gluten in our products. There's no fragrance. But it does give the performance that we expect as makeup artists.
Here's a question. Is the powder non-nano?
It is non-nano. Nano means that the molecule is so small that a product would almost penetrate into the skin. And there's nothing in this product that is nano size. That's not something that we choose to work with. From here, you can take a brush and just press away any excess. And yes, it does not matter how fair the complexion is or how deep the complexion is. This product is completely colorless because it has no pigment in it at all whatsoever. So as a makeup artist, it gives me great confidence that I don't need to carry a bunch of shades, several shades of powder around. I just need to have this. And there we go. Now, under the eye, as a makeup artist, you see it too. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to add a little bit more of a red-orange apricot tone. Armand, do we have another question? Oh, all right, we're out of time. I will finish this up and I'll put a quick picture of it on Instagram so you can see it. I want to say thank you so much for following us. Thank you so much for joining and asking your questions. Next Monday, I'm going to go through and show you how to do makeup working on beautiful, deep, melanated skin. I have a beautiful model that'll be coming in. She's really deep. She's from Kenya. And we as makeup artists need to know how to work with all skin types. We must be able to work as a on global skins, and that's part of the joy of doing makeup. Thank you so much for joining us, and any questions, please leave us a message. Thank you. Bye, everyone.